As is our tradition that this is a special session organized to welcome some of our eminent guests, and as is now the tradition this afternoon as well, we have a number of very eminent guests who will be giving their well wishes to the proceedings of the Jalsa Salana. So I would first like to invite the mayor of the town of Alton, Councillor Robert Saunders. Robert is a special guest because he represents the town in which Hadeeqa-tul-Mahdi resides, and by the grace and blessing of Allah, we have had very good support and connections over many years from the local authority, and I'm very honored to have Robert here with us this afternoon, and I request him to come and say a few words.
Good afternoon, everybody. And on behalf of the people of Alton, I welcome you to East Hampshire and hope you have had an enjoyable and successful 45th Jalsa Salana convention, where you have been able to enhance your knowledge and commitment to the teachings of God. Last month, I had the honor of attending a Love for All, Hatred for None exhibition, which had been organised by the UK Association, held in Alton. At the exhibition, I was presented with a copy of your holy book, the Quran. I have begun to read this and have already increased my understanding of your faith and the guidance it gives you in daily life, and not the often tangled interpretation which we have in the media. Islam translates into peace. Peace can and should be displayed in both words and actions. And I know this is what you strive to do in your day-to-day lives. Charity is also a key pillar of Islam. I want to mention specifically the younger members of your organisation, who again earlier this year gave their time to raise significant amounts of money for a range of local charities by completing a 10K walk in Leamington Spa. I'm sure that over the last couple of days, you have been able to meet up with old acquaintances and make new ones. I have certainly been truly humbled by the reception I have received here today. May you leave in good heart, with motivation to continue your work spreading the word about the teachings and values of Islam. Thank you.
Nare Takbir! Mayor of Alton!
We are very fortunate also to have the Deputy Mayor of Alton with us this afternoon. Councillor Terry Eckert is our Deputy Mayor, and I'd like to welcome him to our Jalsa Salana and request him to come and say a few words.
Thank you. There's not much more I can say that my colleague, the Town Mayor, has not already said, except for I'd like to say thank you for the warmth and friendship and hospitality you all have shown here today. I'd also like to say that anyone that is persecuted for anything in this world is wrong, especially for your faith. Now, next year I'll be Town Mayor of Alton, and I will hope to be with you once again. And that's all I can say. Thank you, and may God be with you. Thank you.
Nara Takbir! Deputy Mayor of Alton.
Thank you very much, Terry. Our next respected guest is the Mayor of Sutton. Councillor Jerry Jerome was elected and will serve as the borough's first citizen for 2011 and 12. The Mayor is a keen supporter of the Ways to Work, a charity that he set up to help young people into work. Councillor Jerome has lived in the borough for 25 years and has been a councillor for almost 10 years. He's a regular guest to many of our events, and I would like to welcome him to our convention and request him to come and say a few words.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, peace to you all. I would like to thank the Ahmadi Muslim community for inviting me here today, and in particular the host, your national president, Mr. Rafiq Ayat. In spite of my great desire to be with you today in a celebratory mood, I must say that this weekend has been one of sadness and disgust for me, much as it would have been for all of you. What happened in Norway on Friday night was truly shocking. I remember having the same nauseating feeling when I heard of the massacre of members of your community in Lahore just over a year ago. In both these cases, the perpetrators of those crimes would have you believe that their motives were based on faith. I was originally asked to make a speech on the role of faith groups in building community cohesion. I hope you will forgive me if I were to change it slightly to this. How can faith and non-faith groups who share the values of peace, freedom, equality, tolerance, and respect, how can such groups build community cohesion? The answer to this lies in the set of values itself. There is no law in this country that says that you have to respect each other, and I would not want there to be. Respect should not be a prescription by law, but it is an important building block in communities. Respect for all, irrespective of belief or non-belief, respect irrespective of race, color, gender, and respect irrespective of age. In divisive communities, you can often see the harm that lack of respect brings. For example, older people often say that the young people of today no longer have any respect for the elderly. In some cases, this leads to the older generation being frightened to go out late at night. There are people who feel that some religious groups make value judgments on them, and they see this as a lack of respect. The reason most quoted by gang members for why they joined a particular gang is again that of respect. They feel that they cannot get respect outside, but they can get it within that group. It is for these reasons that respect must be seen as an essential building block for community cohesion. Thank you all very much for listening to me, and thank you for all the hard work that you all do to promote community cohesion. Peace and love to you all.
Nara Takbir! Mayor of Sutton!
Thank you very much. Our next respected guest this afternoon is Mr. Rami Ranger. Rami is the chairman of the UK-Pakistan-India Forum, and he is one of the leading businessmen of the Asian community in the United Kingdom. He's a social leader and a very good friend of the community. I'd like to welcome Rami to our Jalsa Salana and request him to come and say a few words.
It's a great honor and privilege to be here among you. This is my third trip, and every time I come, I get welcome, and I'm given a great message of peace. The message you have on that wall, love for all and hatred for none, has become more important than ever before in this fractured world. Either we live in peace and harmony, or we consume ourselves in hatred simply in the name of religion. The role of religion is to unite mankind and not to divide. And those who want to divide us in the name of religion are not serving their faith at all. As you know, I'm from a Sikh faith. For me to be here to pay respect to your faith is also paying respect to my faith, which teaches me to show faith to every other faith. We are all children of one God. How we wish to connect with our Maker, that should be left to individual, rather than somebody forcing us to do the way they want to connect to their Maker. So in this message today from here is that we should follow that principle, love for all, hatred for art, hatred for none. And only then we can build a civilized society where everyone can live, enjoy, and add value to the next door neighbor. So I am grateful to my host, Muzaffar Chaudhry, who always invites me, and I'm glad I'm here. He is a great ambassador of your faith, and I have mentioned this Ahmadiyya community in Parliament, even wherever I go, wherever I address, and I think everybody should learn from your community, a well-disciplined community, well-organized community, and I think we should really, really salute your organizer and Hazrat Sahab for giving us this happy day. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Jalsa. Thank you.
Nare Takbir! Peshwayane Mazahib! Mr. Rami Ranger!
Thank you very much. Our next speaker this afternoon has joined us all the way from India, Mr. Sukhdev Singh Bedi Sahib has the honor of being the guardian of the Chola of the Baba Guru Nanak, the Blessed Cloak. He has very strong ties with the Jamaat in Qadian, and actually the whole Bedi family has been historically attached to the Jamaat since the time of the promised Messiah al-Islam. We are delighted to welcome him here with us this afternoon, and I'll request him to come and say a few words.
मज़हब नहीं सिखाता आपस में बैर रखना प्यार ਅਤੇ ਮੁਹੱਬਤ ਦੀ ਜਿਉਂਦੀ ਜਾਗਦੀ ਮਿਸਾਲ ਜਮਾਤ ਅਹਿਮਦੀਆ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਵੇਂ ਖਲੀਫਾ ਹਜ਼ਰਤ ਮਸਰੂਰ ਅਹਿਮਦ ਕਾਦੀਆਨ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੇ ਬਿਰਾਜਮਾਨ ਉੱਚ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤਾਂ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਆਗੂ ਸਹਿਬਾਨ ਅਤੇ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀਨ अस्सलाम अलैकुम ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਦਿਨ ਬੜਾ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਅਤੇ ਭਾਗਸ਼ਾਲੀ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਮਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਨਸੀਬ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ ਜਮਾਤ ਅਹਿਮਦੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਾਲਾਨਾ ਜਲਸੇ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੇ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਲੀ ਮੁਬਾਰਕਬਾਦ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਦਿਨ ਇਨਸਾਨੀ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਅਤੇ ਮੁਹੱਬਤ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਨਾ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਦੇ ਕੰਮ ਆ ਕੇ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰੀਏ ਅੱਜ ਤੋਂ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 120 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਨ 1891 ਈਸਵੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਦੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੇ ਜਲਸੇ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਹਜ਼ਰਤ ਮਿਰਜ਼ਾ ਗੁਲਾਮ ਅਹਿਮਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਖ ਉਦੇਸ਼ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ 3 ਦਿਨ ਅਜਿਹੇ ਹੋਣ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਭਾਈਚਾਰਾ ਆਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਲ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੈਦਾ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਖ ਉਦੇਸ਼ ਸਾਰੇ ਧਰਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਾਨ ਸਨਮਾਨ ਅਤੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਦੀ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਪ੍ਰਤੀ ਸ਼ਰਧਾ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਸੀ। ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਅਤੇ ਇਸਲਾਮੀ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਦਾ ਆਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਨਜ਼ਦੀਕੀ ਰਿਸ਼ਤਾ ਹੈ। ਕਾਦੀਆਨ ਵਿਖੇ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਦਾਸ ਹਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਕੇ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦੇ ਭਲੇ ਦੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕੀਤੀ, ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹਜ਼ਰਤ ਮੁਹੰਮਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਵੀ तमाम ਕਾਇਨਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਦਾ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਜਨਮ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅੰਤਮ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੱਕ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਿਹਾ। ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ ਸਮੇਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਬੀਬੀ ਦੌਲਤਾਂ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਦਾਈ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਨਸੀਬ ਹੋਏ। ਸੱਚਖੰਡ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਹਰਿਮੰਦਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਨੀਂਹ ਸਾਈਂ ਮੀਆਂ ਮੀਰ ਜੀ ਤੋਂ ਰਖਵਾਈ ਗਈ। ਅੰਤਮ ਸਮੇਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਅਲੋਪ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਪਿੱਛੇ ਇੱਕ ਚਾਦਰ ਹੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ। ਹਿੰਦੂਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਝਗੜਾ ਪੈ ਗਿਆ। ਹਿੰਦੂ ਆਪਣਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਸਨ, ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਆਪਣਾ ਪੀਰ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਸਨ। ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਚਾਦਰੇ ਤੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੱਕ ਜਤਾਇਆ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਹੱਕ ਲਿਆ ਵੀ। ਚਾਦਰੇ ਦੇ ਦੋ ਹਿੱਸੇ ਹੋਏ। ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਚਾਦਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਦਫਨਾਇਆ ਅਤੇ ਹਿੰਦੂਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਚਾਦਰੇ ਦਾ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕੀਤਾ। ਉਸ ਚਾਦਰੇ ਦੀ ਰਾਖ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਗਾਗਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹੈ, ਜੋ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਡੇਰਾ ਬਾਬਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਵਿਖੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਸਪੁੱਤਰ ਬਾਬਾ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਚੰਦ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਸਥਾਪਨਾ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਉਪਰੰਤ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਿਤਾ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਯਾਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਆਬਾਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਡੇਰਾ ਬਾਬਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਰੱਖਿਆ। ਡੇਰਾ ਬਾਬਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਵਿਖੇ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਅੰਗ ਦਾ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਵਸਤਰ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਚੋਲਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਸੁਭਾਇਮਾਨ ਹਨ, ਜਿਸ ਉੱਪਰ 30 ਸਿਪਾਰੇ ਅਤੇ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਕੁਰਾਨ ਸ਼ਰੀਫ ਦੀਆਂ ਆਇਤਾਂ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹਨ। ਇਹ ਚੋਲਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਚੌਥੀ ਉਦਾਸੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਰਬ ਦੇਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ। ਉਹ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਚੋਲਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਡੇਰਾ ਬਾਬਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਵਿਖੇ ਸੁਭਾਇਮਾਨ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਦਾਸ ਬਾਬਾ ਸੁਖਦੇਵ ਸਿੰਘ ਬੇਦੀ उस खानदान की 16वीं गद्दी के वारिस हैं। यही पाक चोला है सिखों का ताज, यही बेदी काबली मल के घर में है आज। मैं जमाती भरावां नूं बेनती करदा हाँ कि वो जद भी दुआ करन कादियान आन तां वो डेरा बाबा नानक अते घुमान विखे जरूर आन अते सानू भी सेवा का मौका दें, जिस तरह साडी भी हौसला अफजाई होवेगी अते बरकतां मिलणगीਆਂ। जिस तरह जमात अहमदिया वाहिगुरू ने तौफीक बख्शी है कि जमात समाज भलाई के बहुत सारे कारज कर रहा है, ठीक इस तरह ही दास भी श्री गुरु नानक देव जी का हुक्म मन के घुमान विखे सन 2005 तो गुरु नानक इंटरनेशनल सेवा मिशन रजिस्टर के बैनर थले कई किस्म के समाज के भलाई कारज किए जा रहे हैं। जिस तरह चैरिटेबल गुरु नानक मिशन हस्पताल, जिस विच गरीब मरीजों का इलाज मुफ्त किया जाता है, फ्री मैडिकल कैंप, गरीब बच्चों दी शादियां, लोड़वंद बच्चों की पढ़ाई का खर्चा, फ्री सिलाई कढ़ाई सेंटर, जिस विच कोर्स खत्म होने तो उपरंत हर बच्ची नूं एक सिलाई मशीन फ्री दी जाती है, ताकि वो अपने सवे रोज़गार लई अपने पैरों ते खड़ी हो सके। अते होर भी कई समाज भलाई के कार्य किए जाते हैं। मैं तो समझदा हाँ कि इस विच मैनू कादियान वाले मिर्जा साहिब दा अते अपने बुजुर्गों का आशीर्वाद है। मैं हजूर साहब नूं बेनती करदा हाँ कि वो जद भारत कादियान आन तां डेरा बाबा नानक अते घुमान विखे जरूर तशरीफ फरमा होण। अज मैनू इत्थे सारा रूहानी माहौल देख के बेहद खुशी महसूस हुई है कि अज दे इस नफरत भरे माहौल विच एक आवाज़, एक नारा बड़े ही जोर शोर नाल बुलंद हो रहा है, मुहब्बत सब नाल, नफरत किसे नाल नहीं। मैं अज दे इस पवित्र जलसे विच जो कि जमात अहमदिया वालों महान उपराला किया गया है, मैं दोबारा मुबारकबाद पेश करता हाँ अते आस करता हाँ कि आओ असी सब रल के राष्ट्र के निर्माण नूं भी मजबूत करिए। इस किए गए महान उपराले लई जमात के 5वें खलीफा ਹਜ਼ਰਤ ਮਿਰਜ਼ਾ ਮਸਰੂਰ ਅਹਿਮਦ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਜਮਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਵਧਾਈ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਧੰਨਵਾਦੀ ਹਾਂ। ਅਸਲਾਮ ਅਲੈਕਮ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
नारे तकबीर। पेशवायान मज़ाहिब मिस्टर सुखदेव सिंह बेदी।
Our next very honored guest this afternoon is a very important member, is Imam Ali Riza. Mr. Ali Riza has the historic honor of becoming the first Ahmadi convert in Colombia. As such, he is the first ever representative to the UK Jalsa Salana from Colombia. 20 years ago, he established an Islamic center in Colombia and had studied in Iran, Libya, and Egypt. It is a great honor for us to welcome him this afternoon to our Jalsa Salana, and I request him to say a few words.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Mis saludos muy especiales al Hazrat Mirza Mahrur Ahmad, el Hadeeqa-tul-Mahdi número 5, a todos los organizadores de esta conferencia, a todos los asistentes y a los representantes de la cultura, la sociedad y la política de esta gran nación que es el Reino Unido y de la ciudad de Londres. Como representante del Islam en Colombia y como miembro fundador de la Organización para la Libertad Religiosa, Conciencia y Culto en Colombia, estoy muy feliz de estar en esta gran conferencia mundial islámica sobre la paz mundial y la personalidad del profeta Muhammad, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. El lema de la comunidad, amor para todos, odio para nadie, es de la esencia de todas las grandes religiones y especialmente, por supuesto, de todos los libros sagrados, del Evangelio y del Sagrado Corán. Desde hace 10 años tuve la oportunidad de leer un famoso libro del Ayatollah Hubush sobre las profecías del Islam y sus profecías, sobre el profeta del Islam y sus profecías. Y tuve la oportunidad de conocer a través de este libro y de su escritor, el Ayatollah Hubush, el pensamiento de Hazrat Ahmad de Qadian, quien me impresionó muchísimo por su visión del mundo, de la historia y de los principios supremos de las leyes divinas y del Corán y de la tradición profética. Hace menos de un año, en el mes de enero, tuve la oportunidad de recibir la visita en el Centro Cultural Islámico en Colombia a el emir de Guatemala, el Sheikh Imam Abdul Sattar Khan, y su secretario David González, a quienes les dimos la bienvenida en el Centro Cultural Islámico en Colombia y con quienes tuvimos la oportunidad de compartir los principios de la Ahmadiyya y de hablar de sus principios filosóficos y de compartir el mensaje de Ahmad de Qadian. Dios nos dio la oportunidad de conocer la Organización Mundial Ahmadiyya y sus principios universales sobre la paz y la justicia. Me impresionó muchísimo el libro que me obsequiaron sobre Jesús de Nazaret en la India. Pienso que este libro de Hazrat Ahmad de Qadian sobre Jesús de Nazaret en la India es un reto al intelecto de filósofos, científicos, antropólogos, teólogos sobre la vida de Jesús de Nazaret y su misión y su destino en la historia. Quiero aprovechar esta oportunidad como musulmán occidental, como colombiano y latinoamericano, para repudiar los actos de violencia que a nombre del Islam quieren establecer algunos musulmanes, bajo la bandera del Islam, lamentablemente. Y queremos también repudiar el hecho de que se quiera legalizar e institucionalizar la violencia como instrumento dentro del Islam, lo que es contrario a la ley islámica. Y también queremos repudiar y condenar los atentados terroristas en Oslo, en Noruega, y decirle y recordarles que esto nada tiene que ver con la religión y que la religión invita a la paz y que las responsabilidades y las conductas de los hombres nada tienen que ver con la religión y los libros sagrados. Nuestro sentido pésame al pueblo noriego y a Europa y al mundo occidental. También quiero pedir al califa Hazrat Mahrur Ahmad y a todos los asistentes a esta conferencia que oren por el triunfo del Islam en Colombia y en América Latina, y que este lema, amor para todos y odio para nadie, sea una consigna universal en todos los rincones de la tierra, en el occidente, el oriente, el norte y el sur. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
नाराए तकबीर, नाराए तकबीर, इस्लाम अहमदियत, कोलंबिया, कोलंबिया।
Jazakallah. I would request Abdul Sattar Khan Sahib to come and translate the message, please.
मोहतरम इमाम अली रज़ा साहब की तकरीर का ख़ुलासा ये है, वो फरमाते हैं कि खाकसार कोलंबिया के नुमाइंदा के तौर पर हज़रत मिर्ज़ा मसरूर अहमद साहब, खलीफतुल मसीह खामिस और तमाम शुरकाए जलसा सालाना की खिदमत में मोहब्बत भरा सलाम पेश करता है और इस आलमी जलसा में शमूलियत की दावत देने पर शुक्रगुज़ार हूँ, जो दुनिया में क़याम अमन और हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के उसवे हसना से दुनिया को आगाह करने के लिए मुनक़िद किया जा रहा है। जमात अहमदिया का माटो मोहब्बत सब के लिए और नफ़रत किसी से नहीं, दरअसल यही इस्लाम का बुनियादी पैगाम है जो कुरान करीम और गुज़िश्ता इस्लामी कुतुब ने भी पेश किया है। 10 साल कबल मुझे जर्मन अहमदी मुकर्रम हिदायतुल्लाह हुबई साहब की किताब इस्लाम के अंबिया और उनकी पेशगोइयाँ पढ़ने का मौका मिला, जिससे जमात अहमदिया का तारिफ़ हासिल हुआ। मेरे दिल में ये तमन्ना और ख्वाहिश थी कि कभी किसी अहमदी से भी मुलाकात हो जाए। मेरी खुशकिस्मती है कि 2011 में ग्वाटेमाला के जमात अहमदिया के अमीर अब्दुल सत्तार खान और जनरल सेक्रेटरी दावीद अहमद गोंसाले साहब कोलंबिया तशरीफ़ लाए और जमात अहमदिया के अक़ायद से मुतल्लक़ इनसे तफसीली मालूमात हासिल हुई और अल्लाह ताला ने अपने फ़ज़ल करम से मुझे अहमदियत कबूल करने की सआदत बख्शी। मैं बानी जमात अहमदिया की किताब मसीह हिंदुस्तान से बहुत मुतासर हूँ। आखिर में एक बार फिर हज़रत खलीफतुल मसीह खामिस और जुमला शुरकाए जलसा सालाना से अर्ज़ करता हूँ कि हमारे लिए दुआ करें कि इन ममालिक में भी अल्लाह ताला इस्लाम को गलबा और तरक्की अता फरमाए।
Jazakallah. There's a brief announcement that's going to be made, please.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। एक बच्चा उम्र तकरीबन 4 साल है, धारीदार कमीज़ पहने हुए है, गेट नंबर 1 पर इस वक्त मौजूद है। उसके वालिदैन अगर ये ऐलान सुन रहे हों तो बराह मेहरबानी उसको आकर ले जाएं, वो काफ़ी परेशान है।
Can you also repeat that in English as well?
There is an approximately 4-year-old child wearing a striped shirt who is at gate number 1 at the moment. And if his parents are listening to this announcement, can you kindly take him away? He's quite distressed at the moment.
Jazakallah. Our next eminent speaker is somebody who is a manifestation of the blessings of God Almighty on our Jamaat. Tariq Ahmed Sahib was appointed to the House of Lords earlier this year, and now he is known by the title Lord Ahmed of Wimbledon. Lord Ahmed is a conservative peer, and his role in the parliament includes to work within foreign affairs and international development. and he has recently been appointed the Council of Europe on behalf of the United Kingdom government. We are very proud that a member of our Jamaat has been blessed with this office to undertake responsibilities for our government. I would like to welcome Tariq to the Jalsa Salana and request him to come and say a few words.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Respected Amir Saab, my dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It's indeed a most humbling and poignant moment for me to be standing before you today. Humbling because it is one of the greatest, if not the greatest honor, to be standing in front of just such an august gathering. And in Amir Saab's introduction, it's overwhelming to hear such words, particularly when it applies to oneself. But I do not for a moment entertain the fact that this success is a reflection of one individual. It's a reflection, as Amir Saab said, and indeed, as Hadeeqa-tul-Mahdi said, of the blessings which are being bestowed repeatedly on our Jamaat. And if I may, I just wish to make two personal reflections at this juncture. On a slightly lighter note, Amir Sahib, this particular annual convention for me has been somewhat strange. I'm normally very much engaged in the organization of this Jalsa Salana, and it is a very strange phenomena suddenly to find yourself being managed and being told where to go, where to come, and to sit down and not get yourself organized. And every now and again I see something, and it's very hard not to say to someone, can we get that sorted or get this sorted? But nevertheless, it is an absolute humbling experience to be standing before you today. I remember many years ago when I first joined the Conservative Party, and it was 1994. I went to see Hazrat Hadeeqa-tul-Mahdi Rabi Rahimullah, and after telling him and informing him of my joining of the Conservative Party, there was a light exchange, at the end of which, as I went to leave his office, he said to me, Tariq, there's something else on your mind. What is it? And I said to him, I turned around and I said in Urdu to Hazur, मैं कहा हुजूर मैंने कंजर्वेटिव पार्टी में मैं शामिल हो गया हूँ मगर सब में ये छेड़ रहे हैं कि तारिक टोरी बन गया So Hazur laughed, as Hazur often did, and then with great love and affection, he raised his right hand and he said, Tariq, go for it. Many years on, as I reflect on those words, and indeed sharing those, I believe Munir Javed, our private secretary at that time, had just entered the room. Again, on a very personal note, it reflected the words, indeed the blessings of the Khalifa of the time. I have been overwhelmed, as has my family, by the messages of goodwill, pride, love, which have been sent to me, my family, on this particular event. But I also, as many of you know, reflected upon my late father, Chaudhry Mansoor Ahmad Biti Sahib. Someone just said to me a few moments ago, he was a man who, when the Jalsa first started, was a man who was regularly seen organizing meals in Ziyafat. A man who epitomized the spirit of the Jamaat, which he instilled in his children, of devotion, of dedication, of principle, of perseverance, and ultimately of prayer. And I've said many years when I served in Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, I had the great honor of serving the Majlis for a period of time. There were three key principles which were instilled in us, which remain with me today, and I say there are no better reflections for me personally and my siblings, which Daddy always used to say. The first thing, with somewhat Punjabi reference, he used to say, "Kila mazboot hona chahiye." That when you stick your stake in the ground, you do it on the basis of principle. Then come what may, rain or shine, you will be steadfast. The second principle was stay close to the Jamaat. Serve the community, serve the Jamaat. Don't become known as one who just attends the odd Eid or Jalsa. Give yourself to the Jamaat and be committed to it. And the third element, my dear brothers and sisters, was to stay true to Khilafat. and have a personal relation with the Khalifa of the time. Those were the guiding principles that nurtured me, and it is indeed a huge privilege, an honor, and with great humility that I stand before you today as a parliamentarian of the UK Parliament, representing the current government. And I am also honored, Amir Saab, in that guise, to present to the Jalsa Salana a message on behalf of the Prime Minister of Great Britain, Mr. David Cameron. And he writes that he thanks for receiving his letter of invitation for the Jalsa Salana. And whilst Mr. Cameron cannot attend himself, he did ask me to convey the best wishes of the government to all attending this august convention. And he wrote, "I'm delighted to hear about this event, and I'm absolutely delighted also to provide a message of support. I commend the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association's commitment to tolerance, to respect, and support for charitable causes. Practical cooperation within and between faith groups is crucial to big society. It's a big society we all seek to build. It therefore gives me great pleasure on behalf of the government to send my best wishes to all of you. Yours sincerely, David Cameron, Prime Minister." Amir Saab, Jalsa Salana delegates, I seek, in conclusion, only one thing, and that's your continued prayers, that I, in myself, may be able to serve the community and my country with devotion, dedication, and ultimate humility. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
नारे तकबीर जमात अहमदिया गुलाम अहमद की ग्रेट ब्रिटेन.
Thank you very much, Lord Ahmed. Our next respected speaker is a Member of Parliament. Henry Smith is a Member of Parliament for Crawley, and in Parliament he serves as the European Scrutiny Select Committee and is the Vice Chair of the Transatlantic and International Security APPG. We're very proud to say Henry has been a strong supporter of the Jamaat, and he's a good friend and is also supportive of the local Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Crawley. It gives me great pleasure to welcome him here this afternoon, and I'd request him to come and say a few words, please.
Distinguished members and guests, it is a great honor and a great privilege to be invited here today. And can I sincerely thank you for your hospitality. I am very pleased to share this very auspicious convention with you today. I have been privileged to be a Member of Parliament for 15 months, but I have been involved in public life for a lot longer. I was previously the leader of West Sussex County Council, and what I have found wherever I go and whoever I speak to, regardless of people's backgrounds, whether they be rich or poor, whether they be men or women, whether they be of all sorts of different faiths and religions, whether they be young or old, people in our society fundamentally hope for and aspire to the same things. We all want the best for our community. We want the best healthcare for ourselves and our families. We want the best education for our children and our grandchildren. We want to be able to live surrounded by a pleasant and clean environment that we can enjoy and that we can pass on to future generations. We want to be able to live without fear of crime, to be able to enjoy our local communities without the threat of violence. We all want to be able to be part of our society and yet at the same time not be overtaxed and have our hard-earned money spent in the most efficient way by government. And I believe we all want to live in a country where we are all part of that country, and a country that is both diverse and independent, but also very much connected and interdependent with an ever-shrinking world. I believe the aspirations and the hopes of all people in our community, regardless of their backgrounds, are very similar, and therefore it is very important that we all work hard to ensure that we respect each other. Respect, as some other speakers have said so far, is very important to ensure that we work together, because by working together as a community and as different communities, we can achieve so much more. And as somebody who is a person of faith myself, I believe that is what God wants us to help achieve for him and for this world. And therefore, I close by echoing what I think are very important words, the words that you espouse every single day, and that is love for all and hatred for none. Thank you very much for your kind hospitality and invitation today.
Narae Takbir! MP Henry Smith!
Thank you very much, Henry. Our next eminent guest also is a member of Parliament, Steve McCabe, who has also, over many years, become a very good personal friend, has been and is the Member of Parliament for Birmingham. He trained as a social worker and has worked with young offenders. At Westminster, Steve has continued his interest in social care, but also concentrated on his other interests to include police, security, and community safety. Steve has also spent several years as a government whip, where as the Lord Commissioner, he signed for Northern Rock at the height of the banking crisis. Steve is also a member of the all-party parliamentary group for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community and a very close friend of the community. I'd like to welcome him and request him to come and say a few words.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure to be here at the 45th Jalsa Salana. I can't imagine what the first one was like, but I've been to the last, I think, 5 or 6, and it seems to go from strength to strength every year. It's an enormous achievement, the effort that goes into organising this, the hours of voluntary work which otherwise very busy people dedicate to it is an absolute tribute to the work of your community and your faith. I want to say a thank you to my friend Dr. Salim, who brought me here today and who does so much to keep me in touch with the Ahmadiyya community in Birmingham. Again, I think his generosity, his interest in what happens and his desire to keep me in touch is a tribute to everything that you believe in. I know that you had, I think yesterday, a message of best wishes from the Labour Party leader, Ed Miliband. I was with him on Thursday, and I said that I was coming here today, and he asked me if I would simply repeat that to say how appreciative he is of everything that the Ahmadiyya community does in this country, and indeed to foster good relations and harmony across the world. And I'm very happy to repeat that message today. One of our earlier speakers did mention the sad note today because of the horrendous events in Norway. And it's only, I think, just over 12 months since we were last here and we were mourning some horrendous events in Lahore. whatever people may believe and wherever they come from, there's something wrong when people's beliefs can so pervert religion that it ends up in these kind of tragedies. And whether we're talking about people who think they draw their strength from some kind of Christian fundamentalist right, as would appear to be what's happened in Norway, or whether it's people who latch onto the Wahhabi teachings and then use them in the most perverse fashion, it's wrong. As earlier speakers have said, all religions should be there to serve one God. We should all be willing to address our God in our own way, but with a spirit of tolerance towards others. If there's one thing I have learned about the Ahmadiyya community, it is the way that you wholeheartedly embrace that desire to work with and to respect others, whether that's the work that's done in various charity organisations around this country or the work done internationally through Humanity First. It's an absolute and total tribute to the way you put into action the beliefs of your faith. It makes you all the stronger for it. We are all the better for knowing you for it. And I hope I will continue to share your friendship for the years ahead. Thank you very much.
Narae Takbir! Humanist! MP Steve Mugabe!
Thank you very much, Steve. Our next respected guest is also a Member of Parliament, Ed Davey, Member of Parliament. Ed is a Member of Parliament for Kingston and Surbiton and is also the Minister for Employment Relations, Consumer and Postal Affairs. In the past, Ed has also been Economic Affairs spokesman and also the Deputy in the Treasury with responsibilities for public spending and taxation policy. Ed is a very good and strong supporter of the Jamaat and has attended many local events, including the Peace Conference and our recent charity walk. He has keen interest in foreign affairs and is always ready to help the Jamaat, especially on the issues of human rights and community safety. I am very happy that he is able to join us this afternoon, and I request him to say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a great honor to be here with you at your annual convention again. It's also a great honor to be a constituency MP representing a thriving and healthy Ahmadiyya community in Kingston and Surbiton. I've been grateful for their help and advice, and it's a privilege to work with you. I bring a message from the Deputy Prime Minister. You can see the coalition is working closely together today. And the Deputy Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Nick Clegg, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, asked me to read a brief message to you today. I would like to send my personal greetings to everyone at this year's annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association. I know from my Liberal Democrat colleagues, Lord Eric Avebury, Simon Hughes and Abu Davey, the invaluable work done by the community. From your tireless work for the cause for peace, to your impressive fundraising for charity, Ahmadiyya Muslims show how they live their faith, enriching our society, our country, and our world. I also know that your community faces its own challenges, including discrimination, intolerance, and indeed persecution. As a leader of a Liberal Democrat Party that has always struggled for human rights and international peace, justice, and security, we will always stand with you in solidarity when you face these problems. Working together, I'm sure we can improve our world, guided by principles such as yours: love for all, hatred for none. Thank you, and my best wishes for a successful convention, Nick Clegg. I wanted to join with the other speakers with just a few reflections of my own on the importance of freedom for religion, freedom of individual belief. 2 years ago, I was taken on a trip to Auschwitz to see the execution camps where the Nazis murdered millions of Jewish people for their beliefs. It was on a plot of land not dissimilar to the size of Oakland's farm where we are today for the convention. And when you saw the factory of death that had been set up those decades ago, one reflected on why. Why would human beings want to do this to other human beings? Many scholars and academics had thought about this over the years. And they developed the theory of genocide, the theory of the 8 steps to genocide. How initially, in the hearts of an individual human being, hatred can take root, and how that individual can then treat other people, and how that moves on to become widespread within a community, and then in a country, and then against a particular group, a minority group. And in that thinking, I think we should reflect on how, even after that Holocaust, we still find so many examples around the world of individuals, communities and faith groups being discriminated against and persecuted. And whether it's what we learn from the events in Oslo, and all those young people were murdered by an individual claiming to do it in the name of his faith, Christianity. Rather strange, I'm a Christian, and the teachings of Lord Jesus Christ, one of his major teachings is love thy neighbor as thyself. It is impossible to see in the murders of those young people those teachings. And then I reflect on what your community faces in Pakistan, in Indonesia and in other countries around the world, and I regret to say in some communities in this country too. And we need to make sure that governments, politicians, that people of faith stand up against such intolerance, indeed persecution. It cannot be right when a government doesn't allow a group of faith believers in their country not to have the right to vote because of their faith. That cannot be right. It cannot be right to deny passports and citizenship to a group of people because of their faith. And so we must work together as people of faith, as people who believe in the right for people, to have their individual faith. We must work together constantly, learning from the past, striving for a better future, to make sure that such intolerance is not accepted. That's why your teachings of love for all, hatred for none could not be more relevant in today's society. I salute you for what you do in making that a reality here. And I and my colleagues of all political parties, I am sure, will wish to work with you into the future to make sure we have a country, we have a democracy, we have a world where love for all and hatred for none is truly accepted. Thank you very much.
Narae Takbir! MP Edward Davey!
Thank you very much, Ed.